What happens to your body if you start taking psyllium husk, also known as nature's Ozempic, every day for 30 days? About 90 days or 180 days. It turns out this 10-cent powder does more for your health and your waistline than most prescription drugs on the market. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what happens inside of your body day to day when you start taking psyllium husk, the benefits that show up at each stage, and the right way to take it so you actually see results. And at the end, I'll show you the one mistake that cancels out almost all the benefits, which anyone taking psyllium husk absolutely needs to know. Now let's start with day one, because the first 72 hours are when most people quit before they ever see a single benefit. Within a few hours of your first dose, psyllium husk starts pulling water into your stomach, and it can expand up to 50 times of its original size. And it forms this thick gel that starts moving through your entire digestive tract. So you probably will feel fuller right away. I know I do. But here's the part nobody warns you about. Days 1 through 3 are what I call the ugly phase. You might feel bloat or extra gas. Trips to the bathroom might be just different than what you're normally used to. And as a result, this is where about 90% of people quit. They take it for 2 days, 3 days, they feel bloated and decide it doesn't work. But what bloating is actually a sign of is that your gut is responding. The bacteria are just adjusting to something they haven't had in so long, real fiber. And that adjustment period fades about a week. And for some of you, maybe 2. As your microbiome catches up, it really does start to change, and then you'll see it show up in your bowel movements as they really start to be different but more consistent. Now, there are some people who feel nothing at all in the first few days. Those are often the ones with the most depleted gut microbiomes. Their bacteria are so out of balance that there's barely a response. So whether you feel a lot or a little, stick with it. The first few days are not the finish line. They're just the entrance fee. A good strategy is to start small and then just ease into it. 1 teaspoon, about 3 to 4 grams. Just mix it in. I do about 8 ounces of water. I don't stir it much. I just kind of dump it in and go. And you want to drink it immediately. You've got about 90 seconds before it turns to gel in the glass. And you'll even feel a little bit of that in your mouth. But the mouthfeel of drinking that powder, those fragments of psyllium husk, no real issues. Tested it on my wife who doesn't like, textures with food. She took it down, no problem. After that, follow it with another full glass of water. This is extremely important because otherwise it can work against you. Pulls water from your system and can dehydrate you or bloat you. You want an entire full another 8 to 12 ounce glass of water right after. Stay tuned because I'm going to give you more strategies to make psyllium husk a success at the end. But first, let's finish going through the timeline, because if you can push through those first few days, something clicks around day 4, your bowel movements start to transition to become more predictable. The straining starts to drop. The consistency normalizes in a way that most people haven't experienced in years. I'm not just saying that. I personally experienced it, but don't take my word for it. You can look at the clinical trials done on people dealing with chronic constipation. Before they started psyllium, 86% of them were having fewer than 3 bowel movements a week. You eat 2 to 3 times a day, but you're only getting rid of it 3 times a week. It's a problem. But after 4 weeks on psyllium husk, that number dropped to 20%. And the straining in that group went from 55% of the participants down to just 8. It's not perfect, but it works for 90% of people. That's the kind of shift that you maybe only normally see with like some kind of harsh prescription. Not only that, it works in both directions. If you're constipated, it softens things up and gets them moving more frequently. If you're dealing with loose stools, it firms them up. It normalizes things no matter which direction you're off. The gel does the work either way. Now, once your digestion is running more smoothly and begins to shift, the next thing that happens is what made psyllium go viral on social media. By week 2, your appetite starts dropping, and not just a little. Research shows roughly a 30% reduction in hunger, 30%. And the reason why is fascinating. Remember that gel I mentioned forming in your stomach? It presses against the stretch receptors in your stomach wall. Those receptors send fullness signals up to your brain through the vagus nerve. But that's only half of it. At the same time, it triggers your body to release a hormone called GLP-1. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it should. GLP-1 is the exact same hormone that drugs like Ozempic are designed to mimic. It tells your brain to stop eating. It slows how fast food leaves your stomach. It improves how your body responds to insulin. So you get the same hormone from a 10-cent powder instead of a $300 injection. But it's not just your hunger that changes. At this point, you should also start to notice that your cravings aren't as strong. That's because when you take psyllium husk before a meal, that gel slows down how fast blood sugar from that meal enters your bloodstream. And when your blood sugar isn't swinging up and down wildly, that craving signal in your brain starts to quiet. As a result, regularly taking psyllium 30 minutes before dinner can reduce how many calories you eat in that meal by as much as 17%. But appetite and cravings are just the beginning, because around the 1 month mark, something changes in your blood that's going to surprise the doctor on your next checkup. Here's what happens. Your liver uses cholesterol from your blood to make something called bile acids, and it sends those bile acids into your gut to help digest fat. Now, normally your body just reabsorbs them and recycles them over and over, but psyllium changes. That gel traps those bile acids and it binds to them and pulls them out of your body when you go to the bathroom. So now your liver has a problem. It needs more bile acids, and to make them, it has to pull more cholesterol out of your bloodstream. So what does this actually do to your numbers? Across 28 clinical trials, the average drop in LDL cholesterol was about 13 milligrams per deciliter. That's the kind of drop your doctor usually only sees when they put you on medication. It gets even better. There's a study in JAMA Internal Medicine where they took people on a statin and added psyllium. Those people got the same cholesterol drop as people who doubled their statin dose. Statin plus psyllium, double the statin dose. Same results with half the medication. Now, cholesterol is a big deal, but what happens next might matter even more, especially if you've been told that your blood sugar is heading in the wrong direction. By month 2 and 3, blood sugar starts to change significantly. Your fasting blood sugar drops. Your A1C, which is the marker that shows your average blood sugar over the past few months, starts coming down as well. In one clinical trial, A1C dropped a full point in just 8 weeks, from 8.5 down to 7.5. Full point in 8 weeks. That's the kind of result you normally only get from a prescription drug. And then there's insulin resistance. A controlled study found that Psyllium Husk alone cut insulin resistance by 33%. When combined with lifestyle changes that I teach to you guys all the time, that number dropped to 58%. And the effects started showing up within just 2 weeks. Now here's the part that will really blow your mind. Psyllium works better when you're in worse health. That's not how most supplements work. Most supplements give their best results to people who are already pretty healthy. But with psyllium, the worse your blood sugar control going in, the bigger the improvement. The higher your LDL cholesterol, the more it falls. So if you're someone who's been struggling, if your numbers are going the wrong direction, you're actually in the best position to benefit from it. Next, this is where the scale finally starts to tell the whole story. Researchers pulled together data from a bunch of studies on people taking psyllium before meals. That's when I prefer to take it, half hour before meals. About 10 to 12 grams per day. And here's what they found. Body weight went down about 4.5 pounds. Waist circumference down about 1 inch with no dietary changes required. Now I know what you're thinking. 4.5 pounds over a few months might not sound like a lot, but here's why that number matters more than you think. Psyllium doesn't burn fat directly. What it does is remove the conditions that were making your body store fat in the first place. Insulin spikes, the blood sugar crashes, the overeating from cravings. Once those are gone, your body starts releasing fat on its own, and it keeps going as long as you stick with it, just like Ozempic. Blood pressure also starts coming down in this window. Likely a downstream effect of the weight loss and the improved metabolic health. Something else happens that you can't see on the scale. Your gut bacteria have been remodeling this entire time. Studies show psyllium increases the beneficial bacteria in your gut and crowds out the harmful ones. In some cases, almost fourfold. This is extremely important because your gut bacteria influences how you metabolize food, how much energy you extract from it, and even your mood. About 90% of your body's serotonin, the chemical that regulates mood and motivation, is made in your gut. So as your gut improves, a lot of people start reporting better energy, better mood, and less brain fog. Now, everything I just walked you through only works if you do this correctly, and most people don't. So let me give you the playbook. The single most important thing is timing. Take it 30 minutes before your biggest meal of the day. For most people, that's dinner. Here's why timing matters so much. The gel needs to form in your stomach before the food arrives. If you mix it into a smoothie or take it with your meal, you lose most of the gel forming power. So the sequence goes like this. Mix the powder into plain water, 8 to 10 ounces. Drink it right away. Follow it with another additional glass of just water. Wait 20 to 30 minutes and then eat your meal. Now for the dose, this is where most people go wrong. They take too little. If you're just trying to get more regular, 5 to 10 grams a day works fine. But if you want the cholesterol, blood sugar, weight benefits, you need to hit 10 to 12 grams a day, split into at least 2 doses, could be 3. 1 before breakfast, potentially if you want to, 1 before lunch, and then do 1 at night, definitely before dinner. However, like I said earlier, you don't want to start with the full dose. That's exactly why people quit during the ugly phase. So here's how to ramp up. Week 1, 1 teaspoon once a day. Week 2, add a second teaspoon. So you're 2 teaspoons per day. Week 3 and 4, gradually work up to your full target. This eliminates most of the bloating, most of the discomfort. Water is critical. This is the one mistake I told you about at the beginning of the video, the one that cancels out almost all the benefits, and almost everyone makes this mistake. They take their psyllium husk, drink it in some water, but then they don't take it with enough water. You need at least 8 to 10 ounces per serving plus a second full glass right after you take it. That's because psyllium expands to over 50 times its original size. So if there's not enough water in there, it can actually make things worse or irritate it a little bit instead of better. Also, as a quick warning about medications, if you're on them, the psyllium gel can trap your medications. It can slow their absorption. It's especially true for heart or diabetes or thyroid medications. So as always, I recommend take your medications 2 hours before or after using the psyllium husk. And finally, you could just use the powder, but capsules sound more convenient, but you need 6 to 8 capsules per dose just to match what the powder gives you. For actual results, that powder, that granular form is a way to go. Look for just pure psyllium husk powder, nothing added to it. Flavored versions are usually loaded with sugar or artificial sweeteners, which defeat the entire purpose. I like to get mine organic. That's my stance. So that's what happens to your body when you take psyllium husk every day for months. Here's the thing. Psyllium husk is just one of the natural supplements that can change your health and your waistline without having to rely on toxins and drugs. If you want to know which other natural supplements actually deliver real results, then you need to watch my next video. It's called 10 supplements that actually work and burn fat. In it, I break down 10 supplements that I personally recommend that you could try, what each one does inside of your body so you know which one's right for you, and the ones that almost everyone over 50 is missing. I'll include a link to that video right here. Click to watch it next, and I'll see you there.